Here's Ben Shapiro's tweet on this. Back from the Jewish holiday now. As usual, two things can be true at once.
As usual.
Oh, yeah, right. This is nuance, bro. Ben Shapiro. Kanye's move toward pro-life, faith, and family conservatism are encouraging. Here comes the but without the but. His DEFCON 3 posts and Black Hebrew Israelite language are clearly anti-Semitic and disturbing. That's interesting. So,
this is like the real world equivalent of that like parody Stephen A. Smith Skip Bayless tweet where he's like, "Now Skip, we know how we have much respect for the Holocaust." Skip says, "Of course."
Of course.
And Stephen A. Smith says, "But." it's actually the manifestation of that tweet in real time.
Yeah, I mean, it's just he's basically admitting there that we can still accept you, even if you're blatantly anti-Semitic. You can be a conservative and you can be anti-Semitic when I deem that it's okay. It's not incompatible. The thing about the left and why left is best is because it is incompatible to be anti-Semitic and be a leftist. And that's why people like Ben Shapiro decide to go after Muslim or Palestinian members of Congress, people in the media who choose to speak out against apartheid in the West Bank and Gaza. And that is because they feel that they can undercut leftists' moral superiority. And I mean that not in a pejorative sense, but in a literal sense on these issues. They can muddy the waters in that sense. They're an anti-Semite, not us. As I just completely excuse away some of the most anti-Semitic comments possible because it's convenient for me. On the left, it is incompatible. And that's why we support Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib, because they're not anti-Semitic. They're pro-human rights. They're anti-subjugation. They're humanists. They're people that want to see the world be a better place. And Ben Shapiro is an opportunist who doesn't actually care about anti-Semitism. What his operating principle is Muslim people are dirty. That's what he thinks. Muslim people are lesser than. And just check out his old tweets about Palestine.
Can I read?
Yeah. Oh, good. Thank you. Good producing. You had that right up. You read my mind.
From late September of 2010. Israelis like to build. Arabs like to bomb crap and live in open sewage. This is not a difficult issue. Hashtag settlements rock. So I guess, is that another tweet where two things can be true at once, as always? Or is that opinion? Or is that what you think is fact? Which is it?
Well, we know how he feels about that. The thing about people like, and I keep bringing them up because they're the ones that trigger Ben Shapiro the most, but Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib, besides the fact that they're Muslim, that triggers someone like Ben Shapiro, is that they are consistent in terms of their morality about these things, and that makes someone like him uncomfortable. He has no way to combat that except to lie. And Ben's smart enough, I'm the cool kid's philosopher, to understand that, right? He knows. So he's gotta go after them and project the worst thing that he possibly can onto them and say that they're anti-Semitic. And it's just a way to protect the right-wing government and the colonialism of Israel. But man, he is one cynical grifter. The fact that he couldn't even bring himself to fully condemn this. Doesn't that say everything you need to know, Ben Shapiro's audience, about the kind of fucking loser, pathetic coward this guy is? He stands for combating anti-Semitism. He's been clear about that. Huh. Not Kanye, though. Two things can be true at once in this instance. He's going to forget about it and move on. And once Kanye does some other right-wing kind of, when he tries to appeal to this new audience that he's cultivated because he needs attention and his mind has just been like completely warped by fame and isolation to a degree, and he tries to seek out some validation from the public, from his new fans, Ben Shapiro is going to be cheering him on any second. So Vice Motherboard, part of Vice, obtained uncut audio of Kanye West's interview with Tucker Carlson, and it basically reveals that some of the most anti-Semitic stuff that he said, and it was edited out of the broadcast. And this is just another piece of evidence to show that Tucker Carlson was using Kanye for a very specific purpose, which was to normalize the White Lives Matter message that Kanye was and Candace Owens were. I can't even get into their minds, but he thought it was shocking and artistic in some way, as opposed to just stupid, and stripping out all of the context from words as a way to create shock value and get attention for yourself. And as we said, Kanye has been struggling with mental health stuff and difficulties for quite a long time. And so he has no one around him that seems to be able to say no to him. And Tucker Carlson is just one of the long list of people that's been exploiting him publicly. And this uncut audio is an example of that. This is the stuff that Fox News does not want you to see. We're getting to it.
I was biting my tongue on my political opinion because I thought it would be better for my children. And now you look up and my kids are going to a school that teaches black kids a complicated Kwanzaa. I prefer my kids knew Hanukkah than Kwanzaa. At least it will come with some financial engineering. Kwanzaa doesn't, so they don't teach even Christmas itself, Christ Mass.
Whoops. Yeah, financial engineering. I mean, there we go, right? That was, we talked about how Tucker Carlson did that interview with Kanye before he decided to tweet about going, quote, DEFCON 3 on Jewish people. Saying like, oh, it was a little ill-timed, right? For him to come out with that anti-Semitism right after the interview. But looks like they were pretty well aware of some of the anti-Semitic conspiracy theories he believed.
And that even speaks more to the exploitative argument of it. If that was actual, if there was any sort of journalistic propriety to Tucker Carlson's show or to those remarks, they wouldn't have selectively kept some of it in and edited some of it out. There's a reason why they wanted some of it to seem, I guess, sort of pseudo-plausible to their audience, but not go too far ahead to make him seem more like a so-called crackpot than they actually want him to appear, even though that's what he said. Message
discipline. Tucker Carlson knows exactly what kind of line to toe when it comes to giving just enough to your white supremacist and racist audience, but at the same time not alienating people who might be a little bit on the fence. It's a radicalizing program. And you've seen this in terms of testimony from people who've left white supremacy. There was one in particular who said that he and his family and other white supremacists would watch Tucker Carlson twice, once to enjoy it and the next time to take notes. Tucker knows exactly who he's speaking to. That's why he employed somebody who was all over white supremacist message boards on his show as one of his top writers. And they know exactly how to send out bat signals to the right kind of people. And so it's heavily edited, right? Fair and balanced as they edit around some of the most egregious things that Kanye said.
And this is a great point on the IMs too from Lick of Liberty, is that in that clip we played about him talking about Josh and Jared Kushner, he says something where he kind of asks Tucker rhetoric, sort of like, can I be that emphatic on this platform?
Right.
And then Lick of Liberty says here, in that same interview, Carlson boasts, quote, "We aren't in the business of censorship here." You're not?
Interesting.
Seems like
editing. Why don't you include that context? Yeah. Because then it might have been clearer when Kanye was going off about how, those people are all just about money, where it was kind of, I thought when I first saw it, I was like, oh, he's getting into some anti-Semitism here. But for others, you could say, oh, well, he's just talking about Kushner and his family members that were at this dinner with Kanye and Trump. That's not what he was talking about.
And also, I see here, this is a great point, too. Daryl Canfield in the YouTube chat says they also cut out the part where he says he's fully vaxxed, LOL.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, at one point in that cut remarks, he's talking about COVID. He says, no, I did ultimately get the vaccine.
Oh, nice. Good.
And that's a convenient little morsel not to include for the Fox News audience.
We're not in the business of censorship.
No, we're not in the business. But if you say you're vaccinated, I don't know where it went. We just ripped the tape. We ripped a piece of the film reel out. Sorry.
It just was not, it wasn't relevant.
Actually, I did get record scratch.
Actually, I did.
Moving on.
Here, let's just play some Kanye music over him talking for some reason. All right, we just played some of the uncut audio of Kanye West, his interview with Tucker Carlson, where he is blatantly anti-Semitic, saying he'd rather his kids learn not about Kwanzaa but about Hanukkah because it would, quote, come with some financial engineering. That was pretty explicit, as was his tweet about going DEFCON 3 on Jewish people in all caps. But apparently Ben Shapiro did not think it was explicit enough. He's been quiet on this issue because he'd been celebrating the Jewish holidays, and he has not been on air during this time period, is my understanding. So after a long hiatus, the person that Sam likes to call the Pope of the Jews, who is quick to critique Ilhan Omar for taking a breath in the wrong way that he might perceive as anti-Semitic, has weighed in on Kanye West. And based on those two statements that I recounted to you, audience, you would think the guy in the media that's going to combat anti-Semitism the most, the guy who's on the beat and reading into every little thing that Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar says when they're critiquing the apartheid state of Israel and the domination and subjugation of Palestinians, and speaking out for people who don't have a voice in the United States because we are unequivocally supportive of Israel as a U.S. empire, and challenging that is met with a lot of opposition. The fact that they're brave and stand up for that, Ben Shapiro says, well, they are anti-Semitic, and this is definitely not rooted in anything other than my hatred of Muslims. Oh, wait, did I say that out loud? He's gotta critique Kanye here. Kanye was anti-Semitic. He said Jewish people in all caps go in DEFCON 3. I don't want my kids to learn Kwanzaa. I want them to learn Hanukkah so they could be in finance. That seems pretty explicit. Oh, wait. Here's Ben Shapiro's tweet on this. Back from the Jewish holidays now. Jewish holiday now. As usual, two things can be true at once.
As usual.
Oh, yeah, right. This is nuance, bro. Ben Shapiro. Kanye's move toward pro-life, faith, and family conservatism are encouraging. Here comes the but without the but. His DEFCON 3 posts and Black Hebrew Israelite language are clearly anti-Semitic and disturbing. That's interesting. So
this is like the real world equivalent of that like parody Stephen A. Smith Skip Bayless tweet where he's like, "Now Skip, we know how we have much respect for the Holocaust." Skip says, "Of course."
Of course.
And Stephen A. Smith says, "But." it's actually the manifestation of that tweet in real time.
Yeah, I mean, it's just he's basically admitting there that we can still accept you, even if you're blatantly anti-Semitic. You can be a conservative and you can be anti-Semitic when I deem that it's okay. It's not incompatible. The thing about the left and why left is best is because it is incompatible to be anti-Semitic and be a leftist. And that's why people like Ben Shapiro decide to go after Muslim or Palestinian members of Congress, people in the media who choose to speak out against apartheid in the West Bank and Gaza. And that is because they feel that they can undercut leftists' moral superiority. And I mean that not in a pejorative sense, but in a literal sense on these issues. They can muddy the waters in that sense. They're an anti-Semite, not us. As I just completely excuse away some of the most anti-Semitic comments possible because it's convenient for me. On the left, it is incompatible. And that's why we support Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib, because they're not anti-Semitic. They're pro-human rights. They're anti-subjugation. They're humanists. They're people that want to see the world be a better place.